All right, welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books you can still find tucked away in those cheap boxes, the flea markets, your dollar bins, your Goodwills, your half-price books, wherever you find your cheap comics. These are some things you might still be able to find out there based off of some of the recent news, announcement, rumors, some first appearances, that type of stuff. Just worth keeping an eye out for. Just kind of a fun little scavenger hunt type of deal of some things that I think are worth looking for when you go out digging this week. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We did hit 2K this past week, so we are in the midst of getting ready for a few big giveaways. We have a huge show planned this upcoming Wednesday on the totally awesome, coolest show ever, the Tax Show, live on Wednesday, where we will be giving away a bunch of stuff. So make sure you tune in next Wednesday for our 2K celebration. We're going to try to get a bunch of the contributors to the channel to stop by and check in and just have some fun. I'm still having fun doing this. Hopefully you guys are still having fun going through these comics with me. And if you want to see what books I got for you this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro and I will be right back. All right, so for this week, we did get a lot of announcements at D23, and yeah, sure, there's some things you can go and hunt for as far as those first appearances of some of the characters we see we're getting, but realistically, a lot of them are not going to be easy for you to find any longer in dollar bins. Like, you're not finding a first man thing in a dollar bin, but maybe we do have some updates and some things that you can still go out and hunt for. And they might not be easy to find, but it's worth knowing. It's information worth having. So I'm going to share some of it with you today. First up, we are going to go with this story about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, the sequel. They showed us a bunch of stuff. Some of the costumes coming in the upcoming sequel, which is coming just in November. So almost like a month and a half away, maybe getting closer to a month. But we know we are getting some characters back, obviously. And something I found kind of interesting amongst all of the costumes they showed is a pretty comics accurate look for the Midnight Angels. This is like that secret Wetworks team, like there's a special forces almost of the Dora Milaje that we apparently are going to be seeing, because that's at least what this costume is for. So that's my hope of that's what this will be. So we shall, I mean, and also you look at the weapon there. So maybe we are getting the Midnight Angels here in Black Panther 2. And if you want their first appearance in comics, you kind of have to dig a little bit. Some of these have gotten scooped up over the last year or so, but you might still be able to find them out there. And what I'm talking about is Doomore number 5. Now, Doomore is kind of a fun little mini series from Marvel that you should probably keep an eye out for anyway. Just for Doctor Doom alone, it's kind of a fun thing to pick up. But in issue 5, we did get the first appearance, like I said, of the Midnight Angels here. We got their little special ship, the Dagger, and that's the stealth Quinjet for the Midnight Angels. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this is what we get in that movie exactly or not, but close enough, because that costume looks pretty close to what we saw in the comics. And as I said, this book has gotten a little pricey over the last few months, I guess maybe last year or so. So it could be a tougher find in the dollar bins, but it doesn't mean it's not worth knowing and not worth looking for. So if you come across those Ds, go digging, because this thing can still fetch you $30 to $55 these days. Granted, those some August sales, but that's still the baseline around $30 to $50 is what you're still selling. It was as easier one to clip these sales rather than get put some hodgepodge thing together. As far as what's out in the market, it's kind of the same story. Looking, there's copies $25, you got $50, like it's kind of in that range. Like I said, 25 to 50 sold and available is kind of what the market is on this particular book right now. But that doesn't mean you might not be able to find it out there for cheaper. So just keep your eyes out, keep your eyes peeled, look for this cover, and maybe you can get yourself a nice little deal. It's a JR cover, which is not great, but seen worse. That said, we're going to move on over to the DC side of things real quick with our next little bit, our next little story. And this story is related to the comics where it looks like we might be getting a new love interest for Batgirl in the new Batgirls comic. I'm talking about the recent issue of Batgirls number 10 here. It looks like there could be something brewing here with the character we have seen before. And the panel I'm looking at here is right here. We have Kyle Mizuguchi, if I'm saying his name right. It's a character from Gotham Academy, older brother to more of a mainstay player in that series, the Gotham Academy. But this is a guy we've seen around in the Bat universe before. But it looks here like maybe there's something brewing here between him and Batgirl. So who knows? Who knows if you find this interesting at all or not? All I'm saying, and by looking at this, is we might be seeing a bigger profile for the character, might be seeing him more going forward, which in turn leads to more people looking for first appearances, which in turn leads to higher prices. So maybe you can still find yourself a Gotham Academy one, for cheap. I thought this book would have been priced much higher than it actually is, even on the aftermarket these days. But doesn't mean you're going to find it in a dollar bin, but you can't. It doesn't hurt to look. It definitely doesn't hurt to look. Now, there's a second semester. There's also a second print, pink cover for this. There's also an incentive variant, but just the regular baseline first print number one is what I'm looking at here. And even online, one sold for $1. So before you tell me you won't be able to find this book for $1, someone bought one at auction for $1 on September 3rd. So just 10 days ago, less than 2 weeks ago, somebody got one for $1 online. So they're out there. And then sometimes they can sell for like $20, as you can see there from that other sale, just to kind of give you that range, that, broad range examples. And when you look at what's on the market right now, there's plenty of copies in the $10 to $13, $15 kind of range. Granted, there's some higher asks. There are some higher asking prices, asking more in the 25, even 30, I believe. But this is more of what you see normally. And you keeping yourself an eye out there for those auctions. Maybe you can get it like somebody else did for even cheaper at $1. But you also can just go digging in boxes wherever you do your cheap comic book digging, and maybe you come across this cover, which is a fun cover, by the way. But this is Kyle's first appearance if you're interested in that sort of thing. Now, let's move on back to Marvel again. You know how I like to bounce back and forth between the publishers. No indies this week. Just going to go back and forth between Marvel and DC, basically. But yeah, hopefully you don't mind that. I'm going on back with Marvel with this little story where they're trying to connect some dots. This might be a bit of a stretch, but it is kind of interesting and it got me thinking about books. So we're going to talk about it for a second. The stretch here is that the Werewolf by Night, like we just saw the trailer as part of D23, might be linked in a way to Black Panther 2. And the connection they're throwing out there is that we saw a Nosferatu, a vampire type character in that Werewolf by Night in that trailer, and that flavor of vampire, I guess, ties back to Atlantis in the Marvel universe in the comics. It goes back to that god Chthon, who we'll talk again a little bit more about. Chthon basically created this little subdivision of vampires, the Nosferatu, and then there's a Lord Nosferatu, and Chthon kind of spun out of Atlantis. So that's kind of the connection they're going with here. I don't know if there'll be that kind of a direct tie per se. I mean, maybe there will be in the MCU and in the movies, but it is kind of there in the comics. Now, the book we got to throw out here, which is going to be kind of tough, because the first appearance of that flavor of vampire, the Nosferatu flavor of vampire in the Marvel universe, was Bloodstone 1, which we all know is really a tough ask. Nobody's going to find that $1 bin any longer. There was a time you could, and I had, but now those days are long gone. So finding Bloodstone 1 in $1 bin is not going to happen. And even the next book that I'm going to talk about is a bit of a stretch these days because that entire 4-issue run has gotten tough and tougher to find. I've found them plenty of times before, but these days it's going to be a tougher ask. But in Bloodstone number 4, which has this awesome Indiana and Jones inspired cover, I might even talked about this a couple of years ago, to look for these, not just number 1, but look for the other 3. Issue 4 does have the first appearance of this Lord Nosferatu character, who is basically the leader of this subdivision of, like I said, vampires in the Marvel universe. Now, will we get this character in Werewolf by Night? Who knows? I don't know. But like I said, these are the connections that, these are the little drops that were out there. So got me looking into some books just to look for cheap. I'm not telling anybody go buy these things at like market price, pay up for any of this stuff. This is the stuff I'm saying go and look for in those cheap boxes because could be fun. Could be a fun little find. And as I said, finding Bloodstone 4 is going to be a really tall order for anybody these days, but figured I would mention it because it does have that first. Now, this book, as you can see, I mentioned this on where did we talk about the Bloodstone? Was it on Chasing Ghosts? I feel like I might have talked about it on not Chasing Ghosts, Hidden Gems, not that long ago, but I don't know. Regardless, $15. It sold for as cheap as $15 back in July. Granted, it was a little while ago, but cheap as 15, 35, best off run 60. The later sales have been getting closer to that kind of $50 range for this particular issue for one reason or another. So it is getting harder, like pricier. So it's going to be harder to find for cheap because of that. And the asking prices right now are in that kind of $50 range as well. That said, doesn't hurt to look. It doesn't hurt to have some information and know about it. Now, if you do want some more information on the Marvel vampires, because again, there's different flavors. You got the Nosferatu sect, you got the sect that follows Dracula, Vlad, Tepish, and then you got Vlad Dracula's son. Like there's a whole bunch of vampires. And if you want to clear up some of that confusion, a book you can look for, and you might be able to find in those dollar bins, I think is kind of fun, is this. Vampires, the Marvel Undead, which is kind of a handy dandy guide for your vampires in the Marvel universe. And inside this, it kind of outlines the stuff here. It tells the story of the Nosferatu flavor that I'm talking about here, and Bloodstone 1, see, 2001. It's kind of recapping that stuff. So this little Marvel Undead, like I said, almost like a information guide comic is worth looking for if you're interested. Not going to be easy to find, but this is one of those oddball things you can sometimes find in those boxes. A copy sold for $21 back in June, and that's the only sale that I could find for this particular book to show. And then we see there's copies out there right now available in that $15 to kind of $20 range for the most part. Again, I think this is most of the copies. There might be up to 5 or 6, but not a ton of copies available. But this is the kind of weird oddball thing you might pull out of a cheap box because again, it's not a series, it's a one-off. It's a one-shot guidebook type of book, like a Marvel handbook to the Marvel universe or like that Mystic Arcana thing. Like it's a guidebook basically. But still interesting. I still think it's kind of interesting and still, worth looking for. Going back to our talks about Chthon, and we've talked about Chthon even on this series before because of the WandaVision connections with the Darkhold, because there are connections to the Darkhold. Chthon was the writer of the Darkhold and all of that. We can go back and look at Mordred the Mystic, which is actually Marvel Chiller's #1 as the sort of first appearance of Chthon, but he's not really named yet. He's just like the other, and you don't actually really see him either. It's just kind of like an empty chair. He's kind of alluded to, but it's just one of those books that kind of connects to all of this darker corner of the Marvel Universe stuff. Because again, like I said, Chthon, Darkhold, we're getting more of that coming up. Will it connect to any of this vampire stuff? Maybe. Who knows? But just another book just worth knowing and worth looking for. It's still not that bad. It's still not that expensive. Still worth looking for in those cheap boxes because it's an oddball Marvel title, from back in the day. So Marvel Chillers could be out there. I know it seems like he's only in issues 1 and 2, I think, are more focused on Mordred, but issue 1 is the one you want to look for. You can see sells for like $30, but then sometimes you can see him even online in lots for like around $10, and that's with other issues, like issues 1 and 2 together. Like, it's not too expensive, it's not too pricey. If you were to be doing that online shopping, that's just some examples of some sales. Available copies as well. You can see $15, $13 for the pair of 1 and 2. But it could be expensive. It could be a little more expensive, around $30, depending on condition. Obviously, the better grade, the higher the price. But once again, I'm not telling you pay these prices. I'm just giving you ballpark numbers. So in case you find it in the dollar bin and you decide you don't want to keep it, you want to hit up eBay or whatnot or wherever you want to do to go and sell a book, you can. And this is what the market would be if you could pull this one out of a box somewhere. So just keep an eye out for it still. Because again, it's not Chthon named, but it technically does tie to Chthon and the Darkhold, and you got a lot of stuff that can tie through. A lot of people instead like the Marvel first appearance for Chthon as being Avengers 186, especially with the ties to Wanda and WandaVision, because you get the name. Oh, there she's named at the end with the evil possession kind of thing going on. But this book also got pricey because of WandaVision, so finding it out in those boxes could be tough, but sometimes when books get hot, they get forgotten about after a couple of months. So it could find its way back as new collections come in. dealers don't pull everything. They just go, all right, all right. Most of it's just junk. They remember the books they remember, and some of these get forgotten about after a while. So you can see even now online, this was expensive for a while there. I think it was hitting like 40, $50, but it's down selling around that $15 kind of range recently, and copies available in that 15 to 25, $30 kind of asking price right now. But who knows? Maybe you can pull one out of a box, like I said, for cheap. So more Chthon goodness out there for you. And see, we even get more Dread back right there on the cover. But moving on, we're going to bounce back over to DC for our next little bit and check in over there for some more stuff for you guys to hunt. I know sometimes this stuff can come off as repeats because it kind of is, but here we go. DC villain, we're guessing at who Brendan Gleeson might be playing in the Joker sequel. Like, he could be a number of characters. They're throwing out names like he could be the Penguin, he could be, the Scarecrow. Like, and these are things where the first appearances are going to be very, very hard to find and very, very expensive. And it's not stuff you can find at a dollar bin. So me connecting this to dollar bin, I had to reach for some of the other options that they threw out there, just to give you some books to keep an eye out for. And the one idea that was floated out there of who he could be ties back into a book we've covered here, the Shadow of the Bat #1. Plenty of copies of this out there. I know I found this many, many times in dollar bins. They're still out there. Most people grab this book for first Victor Zsasz. So we've seen him a few times. We've seen him on the Gotham show, seen him on Birds of Prey movie. Victor Zsasz is an interesting little oddball bat villain that just somehow finds his way into those other media because of what he is. He's a killer, and they can use him in a lot of ways. But that's not the only first appearance in this book. The other first appearance, and who Brendan Gleeson might be playing, is Jeremiah Arkham. Jeremiah Arkham, especially in this storyline that starts off of this Shadow of the Bat storyline, this title was, I think, the first arc was based off of the last Arkham, and it focused on Jeremiah Arkham, who was like a doctor there at Arkham Asylum. We know the Joker movie is going to be taking place mostly in Arkham Asylum, from what we hear. Again, the rumors of what the storyline may be with Harley, being the eyes of the movie, and her relationship with the Joker being told throughout this. So maybe Jeremiah Arkham is there. Maybe Brendan Gleeson is playing this character that's running the show here, running the asylum. Who knows? It's a possibility. No idea if this is true. No idea if this will happen or what. But for $1, this is the kind of stuff you could take a flyer on. So first Jeremiah Arkham is in this book, and copies, like I said, it's cheap, $5, $6. Even that's still polybagged with the extras in it. Very, very cheap sales. Asking prices as low as $2 to like $7. Not a pricey book. So this is one you still can go and dig out, like I said, for cheap. And who knows? If it hits, it might pop a little bit more than this and hit like 10 to 15. Who knows? I don't know. But another character that I also thought was kind of interesting that they've thrown out and floated the idea he could be, also tying in with the mental health aspect with the asylum, is Hugo Strange. Now, you're not finding Detective 36, the first appearance of Hugo Strange in Dollar Bin. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just showing it to you so you know that's actually the first appearance of the character of Hugo Strange. But especially with Bat characters, what a lot of people like to do is go and find those next first appearances, because a lot of the characters were introduced and then they came back. So a lot of people can't get first Penguin, but maybe they can get first Silver Age Penguin. They can't get first Two-Face, but maybe they can get first Silver Age, yada, 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 through all the Bat villains. Now, I don't believe there is a Silver Age appearance of Hugo Strange, but there is a first, like, modern, well, close to modern. Maybe it's Copper. Yeah, I get the years all wrong, but still, the more modern first appearance, the reintroduction, more to the point, the reintroduction of Hugo Strange was in Detective Comics 471 here. So big surprise, and this is the character we kind of know more. Like, this is kind of the basis of what we've seen in shows like Gotham. We've seen Hugo Strange already introduced, like, into that. So maybe we get him in the Joker movie. I don't know, but this would be a fun book to look for, and it's not too expensive even now. You can see copies have sold for about $10, really, about $10, which ain't too bad. And if you go shopping for it online too, you can see it's under $10 and $10, and right around that range. So I know sometimes you're flipping through those boxes, you find those stretches of old detective. Now, granted, they may not be in the best condition, but still, some of this stuff is still worth grabbing if it's cheap enough. So keep an eye out for 471 if you're interested in Hugo Strange, because it's just, again, another fun book to hunt. And that's also kind of another reason why I do this show is just trying to throw out some fun ideas, the things you can go look for, and just see if you can find it because just fun little books, fun little comics. Uh, that said, I got one more for you, and we're gonna hop back over to Marvel, but the Star Wars corner of the Marvel universe, and give you a Star Wars book to go and look for. I know Star Wars books are getting tougher and tougher to find, but you can look. Now, in Darth Vader, they've apparently they're going to be refreshing and giving a new take on an old character that we saw, and that character is I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, so we're just going to get into it. First appearance, and then I'll have it on screen and I can read it better. But in the trade paperback of Attack of the Clones, which is the second Star Wars movie, as you remember, that's where we're going to get the first appearance of, I think it's Wat Tambor, if I'm saying it. It's kind of like a separatist like leader of sorts, and it's a character they'll be bringing back, and maybe they'll be fleshing out in the current Vader run. So going back in the trade paperback, which came out I believe in April is where you're going to find the first appearance, because the trade came out before the floppies for whatever reason. So if you really want the first, you want the trade, and I'm showing you the trade first because I know you're not going to really find dollar bin trades, but hey, you might find cheap trades somewhere. So I just want to give you the information so you have it. But we do get Wat Tambor appearing first in this book. Where, you ask? Where is he? Well, we saw him in the movie, but in the comic form, he's this guy right here, all the way back there. And that's not the blow up picture. Is not even a blow up of that what that panel is. This is just so you get a better look at what you're looking for. This weird alien dude. But yeah, that little bit panel in the back there. That's the only appearance of him in this book, and that's the first appearance. Just letting you know. I believe you should know what you're buying. So just because you hear the words first appearance in Star Wars, people get excited and start throwing money around. But just know what you're buying. You're buying it for that panel, basically. If that's your reason. And again, you can see the trade paperback can sell for like $12, $9. Best offer on $7. Even the trade's not that expensive. Copy only one copy I could find out there right now that's of this I guess printing is $12.60 from Mile High, but it is what it is. But I know you guys don't want trade paperbacks. You want to collect the floppies. So this book, this part of the book where he shows up actually doesn't happen until the fourth issue of the series, which is this cover, this Dooku one. But issue 4, the final issue of the mini for Attack of the Clones, is where you're getting that first Wat Tambor, among other characters. There's other character first in there as well. I can't remember. I think Chthon might also be the first in this book as well, but there's a few. Go check out the Star Wars first appearance list that Ben put together ages ago over on comicbookinvest.com for more info, and you can see a bunch of the characters listed there. Again, helpful resource, helpful tool. That said, this book, if you want to buy issue 4 alone, well, you're gonna have a hard time finding it on its own because there's a lot of lots or sets. So set wise, the whole set costs like $35 basically. Found a few examples, all issues 1 through 4. The whole set kind of runs for $35. Asking price you can find sometimes, but they're looking for like $15 just for the single issue for issue 4. And then, like I said, sets are in that kind of $40 kind of range. So that's what you're looking at if you find it online. But considering this is a movie adaptation, this is kind of stuff, even though it's Star Wars, this isn't a sexy Star Wars book. So this is kind of stuff you can still find just buried in boxes. So people can say, you got any Star Wars? Yeah, I got Star Wars. And it's like, oh, great. It's Phantom Menace, like adaptations. And oh, no, the Darth Maul covers are all gone. And this is all that's left. But maybe you can find this one because maybe nobody was really hot to find that first Wat Tambor first appearance. I don't know. Like I said, it's just a fun thing to go and hunt. Just trying to come up with different ideas for you guys to go find in those cheap boxes that you might find worthwhile. Because, well, some of things could be expensive. And then if the book's too expensive, you tell me, well, I'm not going to find that in the cheap box. I get it. So it's a delicate balance to play this game and try to give you guys ideas. I got to find things that seem logical, realistic. And even though I may find books in dollar bins or you find stuff in dollar bins, others may not. Like, boxes are different all over the place. So we got to kind of spread things around and, get a little something for everybody. That said, hopefully you're still enjoying this. Hopefully you find this helpful. Hope you find it informative, hopefully. I'm doing my best in trying to give you as much information as I can. I love this stuff. I love doing this. So I don't know. I'm going to keep doing it. Thanks for stopping by and checking it out. Hopefully you're enjoying it, and hopefully you're enjoying the channel as well. If you haven't already, come subscribe, come check out all of the shows that we got here on the channel. Because apart from dollar bin digging, on Mondays I do hidden gems, which is a similar idea, but you may pay more than $1. Chasing ghosts, where you find those hard to find variants on Tuesdays. Live tack show on Wednesday. Make sure you come this Wednesday for the 2K giveaway spectacular. Thursdays we're doing dollar bin digging. Fridays, buddies of mine have a show, Mail Called Madness, where they go through unboxing some of the toys and collectibles and things that they've been buying, as well as offer other little fun stuff as well. And then on Saturday we got Saturday Night Special, which is a lot of fun. The boys there put together a great show covering a lot of different aspects of pop culture, as well as plenty of comic stuff. So make sure you check them out live on Saturdays at 8 p.m. here on Rennavision. And then Sundays we do Star Wars. So if you like Star Wars, every Sunday night, come to Rennavision to check out the Tales from the Dark Side show. And then I got other stuff mixed in here and there as well. I'm going to be doing a J. Scott Campbell mystery box unboxing. I'm going to try to bring back a toy show, and just having fun. I just love talking about this stuff. Hopefully you're still enjoying it. I've talked enough for today. Let me know what you think. Like I said, make your comments, make suggestions, tell me more stuff you want to see. And with that, I'll see you guys soon with some more content. All right, later.